The drowned bell. The bell's toll hung in the mist long after the sound faded, a vibration in the bones more than the air. We had anchored as best we could, dropping the hook into what we hoped was sand, far enough from the galleon to feel a shred of safety. No one slept. The crew spent the night in a state of wired vigilance, jumping at every drip of condensation, every normal groan of the ship. The spectral parade had stopped, but the silence that replaced it was worse. It was a listening silence. At first light, a faint graying of the pervasive mist, we could see the wreck more clearly. The San Miguel was a monster of a ship, even in ruin. Her hull was sheathed in an eerie, grayish coral and draped with long, ghostly strands of seaweed that moved without current. Her gun ports were closed. Her great stern castle, where the admiral would have had his quarters, was intricately carved, the gilding long stripped by the sea. But the shapes of saints and demons were still visible, twisted into horrific parodies by the growth. And there, on the forecastle, we could just make out the shape of the bell. It hung motionless. How do we proceed? Bones asked, his voice a low rumble. We were gathered on the quarterdeck, a council of war. We can't sail the Viper right up to her. The water's too shallow, and that thing might be down there. The longboats, I said. A small party. Go aboard, see what's there. Find the main treasure hold. If Thorn is right and the gold is a weapon, we find it and figure out how to destroy it. Destroy a fortune? One of the men muttered, unable to help himself. I fixed him with a stare. That fortune drives men mad and summons creatures from the deep. Do you want to spend the rest of your days chanting around a fire like the poor souls on the Wanderer? This ends here. The mention of the Wanderer shut down any protest. Greed was powerful, but the memory of that hollow-eyed crew was stronger. The party was chosen. Me, Bones, who refused to let me go alone. Swift Mary for her agility, Finnegan for his knowledge, and 4 of the steadiest hands. We also brought Vance. In chains, I needed him where I could see him, and part of me believed if there was a price to be paid, his life was the coin I was most willing to spend. We rowed in silence, the mist muffling the sound of the oars. The water was clear and unnaturally still. As we neared the galleon, its sheer size became overwhelming. We rode under the remains of her prow, past a crumbling figurehead that might have been a lion or a dragon, its features melted by time. We found a breach in her hull near the waterline, a splintered wound large enough to row a boat through. The storm that took her didn't sink her, Mary observed quietly. It broke her open and laid her here. We entered the corpse of the ship. Inside was a cathedral of gloom. Shafts of faint, greenish light filtered down from holes in the deck above, illuminating swirling motes of sediment. The lower deck was a jumble of fallen timbers, silt, and the debris of centuries-old panic. A rusted pike, a shattered chest, a scattering of human bones, clean and white. The air was cold and stale. Finnegan led the way, drawn by the emerald's pull. We picked a path through the wreckage towards the stern, where the captain's cabin and the main treasure hold would be. The silence was absolute. Our footsteps on the silt sounded like thunderclaps. Then we heard it again. The bell, not a toll this time, but a single, soft clank as if tapped. It came from above decks. We froze. It's just the water moving the ship, one of the men whispered, his voice trembling. There is no water movement here, Finnegan said. We pressed on, hearts hammering. We found a staircase leading up to the weather deck, mostly intact. As we climbed, the light grew slightly brighter. We emerged onto the main deck, a vast, open space cluttered with the remains of capstans, winches, and more bones. And there, at the base of the foremast, was the bell. It was huge, made of blackened bronze, hanging from a massive timber yoke. It was perfectly still. Vance, who had been sullenly quiet, let out a choked gasp. He was staring past the bell, towards the captain's cabin under the poop deck. The door, heavy and studded with iron, was ajar, and from within, a soft, golden glow pulsed rhythmically, in time with the emerald around my neck. The treasure was awake, and it was calling us home. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe for more adventures.